always amazing. Try new things, and those things don't seem to work all the time. So I should have, there we go. All right. So again, welcome to the David Hittle Real Estate Show on this Independence Day 2021. And before I get started today, I just want to thank everyone who has taken the time or who will take the time today just to watch my real estate show. It is quite an honor to be able to do this. It's quite an honor just to be a real estate agent, a realtor, but being able to speak into the lives of people through this career is just makes it all the more better. So I thank everyone who watches on a weekly basis or whenever you get around to watch. I do appreciate all the views and all the live views that I get. If you know me, then you know I am a history buff. I absolutely love history. My wife and I are polar opposites on that. She's not much of a history buff. I really am a history buff. And they say opposites attract. So that must have been what happened. But on today's David Hittle Real Estate Show, brought to you by United Real Estate Louisville, I wanted to spend just a few minutes. I'm not going to go very long in today's show because I know it's a holiday and I want you to get back to your family. However, if this is a Sunday thing for you, gather the family around the computer or the TV or however you stream this, and let's dive into the history of home ownership in America. So, one of the main reasons that is given for the reasons why the founding fathers and the pioneers of the United States had come here from Europe was religion. However, another reason why the people fled to this new world was because of the opportunity that was here. And part of that opportunity was land ownership more than exactly home ownership, but owning a piece of land that you could do whatever you wanted to with, that you could make your own, that you could build your home on. That was a big draw. In the 1700s, around the time when the founding fathers and all were starting to get here to America, between 50 and 70% of land in Europe was owned by the aristocracy or the rich rulers, government officials. 50 to 70% was owned by them, was owned by the gentry, which was the class below nobility, and then 50 to 70% was owned by the church. So 50 to 70% of the land in Europe was owned by one of those three groups, either the aristocracy, the gentry, or the church. That left little to no land available or affordable to the average person, to the working man or woman. The working man or woman had to go through either the aristocracy, the gentry, or the church to purchase land. And for the most part, land was rented, or homes were rented rather than actually being owned by the common man. Those who were not rich rulers, those that were not part of the gentry, or those who were not heads of the church were unable to own much land and, for that matter, homes. For this reason, and of course many others, the founding fathers and the settlers here to the United States, before they came to this new world, in order to start a new life, a better life with land that, while they maintained, was still controlled by England for the most part. So in the early days of the United States, as you can well imagine, most of the land that was owned here was owned by farmers. It was agricultural land. Agriculture was and still is the backbone of our society, but even more so in those days. In order to sustain your family, you had to use your land. You had to farm your land. But with the coming of the Industrial Revolution, land started being used for different purposes rather than just agriculture, rather than just farming. But even then, the use of land for home development was lacking. So since 1890, the Census Bureau has asked the question on whether or not you owned your home. Home ownership on the census survey started in 1890. And according to the 1890 census, their research showed that 47.8% of those census takers owned their home. That number would rise and fall over the decades to come, but it would never fall below 43.6%, which was recorded in 1940. Since 1940, however, the census has recorded a rise in the percentage of home ownership, with the 2010 census recording home ownership at 66.5%. The lack of money was one of the major causes for the lack of home ownership at the beginning of recorded census history in the 1890s. 47.8%, which was recorded in the 1890 census, came about due to the National Banks Act of the 1860s. Before that time, in order to own a home or land, for that matter, one had to have all the cash necessary. All the cash necessary. And they had to be able to put down all of that cash in order to purchase a home or in order to purchase land. It was with the National Banks Act that banks began loaning money for homes in the United States. By the 1900s, banks loaning money for homes had become a thing. However, in order to purchase a home back in the 1900s, one still had to have a down payment. And that down payment in those days was 50% of the loan amount. And the length of terms back in the 1900s was a short 5 years. The Great Depression was very impactful on home ownership in the United States. That type of loan, the 50% 5-year mortgage, lasted all the way up until the Great Depression of the 1930s. At that point, during the Depression, banks had no money to lend, and potential home buyers had no cash to purchase. At one point in the 1930s, nearly 10% of homes were in foreclosure. The government during and after the Great Depression started various programs aimed at home ownership. In 1933, the federal government created the Homeowners Loan Corporation. In 1934, the Federal Housing Administration, or FHA as we know today. And in 1938, the Federal National Mortgage Association, which we now know as Fannie Mae. These government-created institutions may have helped stop a housing crash during the Great Depression and would eventually become more widely available and used. In 1944, the GI Bill provided subsidized mortgages for World War II veterans, which would change the face of the housing industry. The GI Bill, now your VA loan benefits. Still the GI Bill, but now expanded to more veterans than just World War II. The housing boom occurred around the 1950s. For the first time in United States history, home ownership had risen above 50%. And this was around the same time that magazines and catalogs like Sears began advertising and selling homes. One of the nicer homes that I saw during my research on this was a Sears home called the Magnolia. Sounds fancy. It was a 10-room colonial-style home with 2 stories and a basement. You could have a Magnolia home delivered to your site for the incredibly low price of $6,488. Today, there's even a website dedicated to finding Sears homes, and there's at least one here in Louisville, Kentucky. And if you'd like to check that out, check out 1237 Royal Avenue on homesnap.com and see what a Sears home looks like today. And just for kicks, the HomeSnap estimates that that Sears home at 1237 Royal Avenue is worth $344,000 today. In today's society, the average family spends $1,573.83 on average every month on their home. That is more than we spend on food, clothing, health care combined. Our homes are our net worth in most cases. Your home, in most cases, is the most expensive asset you will ever own. It's the biggest investment most people will ever have. And it has a very nice return, as homeowners are finding today. Our homes, again, are our net worth, and they put us above the living arrangements of most people around the world. I believe we are blessed to live in the United States of America. And if you have a dream of home ownership, I hope that I will have the honor of helping you to achieve that dream. Happy Independence Day, everyone. That is the show today. If you'd like to see past episodes, you can visit my YouTube page, Shopkentuckyhomes on YouTube. You can also find some of my most recent Sunday lives, the David Hittle Real Estate Show, on Facebook. Just search David Hittle on Facebook. And until next Sunday, I hope that you all have a wonderful Independence Day. Enjoy the fireworks. Enjoy spending time with the family. Enjoy a hamburger or a hot dog or some pizza. Whatever makes you happy on this 4th of July, on this Independence Day. And I'd like to send a special shout out to the men and women who have served this country, whether they are military, whether they are nurses, doctors, EMT, policemen, firemen, teachers, those who sacrifice a salary for the servanthood, the serving of others. I want to thank each and every one of them, thank them for their service, and wish them a very happy and blessed Independence Day. So for everyone here, me, it's only me, and United Real Estate Louisville, I thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you're here on YouTube, in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And until next Sunday, again, happy Independence Day, and have a great and wonderful day.